My daughter and
Yeah.
All right, we'll be starting now. Good afternoon and welcome to the Spring 2023 Student Senate Town Hall. My name is Daniel Schessler and I am the chair for the 2022 to 2023 Student Senate. On behalf of all Senate, we greatly appreciate your taking the time to join us today, virtually or in person here at the West Campus. This event will be recorded and a link to watch will be uploaded to our Pima Engage page and the Pima Student Engagement YouTube page.
Before we start our program today, we would like to begin with a land acknowledgement. Pima Community College is on the original homelands of the Tohono O'odham people and the Pasquayaki, who have stewarded this land since time immemorial. The practice of acknowledging the land of these sovereign nations brings to the forefront their enduring connection to this land, regardless of historical and current colonization practices. Let's acknowledge that we all benefit from these lands on which we work and learn. I encourage each participant today to learn about the land we inhabit and the tribal communities connected to this land, the ways in which we can contribute to restorative practices related to the land and as well as the community.
Thank you, Titi. Student Senate is responsible for creating a bridge between the student body and the college administration. Events such as this allow us to do just that. Senate hosts a town hall at minimum once a semester. Our goal is to create and maintain open lines of communication between students and leadership. In honor of this goal, I would like to invite PCC's Chancellor, Lee Lambert, to the stage for a welcome address on behalf of all of PCC's leadership that are here with us today.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. And I want to first welcome you all to this student town hall. And let's thank your student leadership for pulling all of this together. Thank you all. At Pima, we place at the center of what we do, the students, or what we really like to refer to you as learners, at the center of what we do, because it reminds us that at the end of the day, it's all about each and every one of you who decide to come here at Pima Community College for your learning. And we're so pleased that you have chosen us to be part of your journey, leading you into the future. Also, I just wanted to share a few things that we do with the students. For one, we have one of your appointed student representatives at our board meetings every month. And so that's a very important value that we hold here, is to have the student voice at the table at the highest levels of the college. Also, every year, the board and myself, we take a trip to Washington, D.C. to help bring the voice of community colleges to the Hill, or Capitol Hill, I should say. And a part of that trip, we always like to bring one of our learners, if not two or three of our learners, as part of the trip. And I will say this, that our Arizona congressional delegation really appreciates having the voice of students on that trip. I think it's probably the most impactful part of the experience. So we want to thank all the students who have ever joined us as part of that. Those are just some examples of how we try to incorporate your voices into what we do, especially in the governance and the administration of the college. Now, with that said, I'm going to now pivot to, there was two questions that I was asked to respond to. Do you want me to throw it back to you and then you'll come back to the question?
Yeah, we'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
So thank you, Chancellor Lambert. And thank you for joining us this afternoon. So we'd like to start with the introductions of the Student Senate team. So my name is Clinton McKillop. I'm the representative of the online campus. I sit as the co-chair and the parliamentarian for the Student Senate. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm currently studying the computer programmer or the programmer analyst path on the online campus. And I'll be graduating in the fall.
Thank you, Clinton. My name is Leilani Williams. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm currently biology. I currently hold the project lead position, and I represent the Desert Vista campus.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Schessler. My pronouns are he, him. I'm currently studying liberal arts, and I do plan to graduate this semester. I currently hold the chair position and represent the West Campus.
My name is TT Martinez. My pronouns are she, hers, Aya. Currently studying BCT Electrical. I am currently hold the Board of Governors position, and I represent the Adult Basic Education College and Career.
Hello, my name is Marquise Vaughn. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm currently studying business administration, and I currently hold the position of marketing officer. And I represent the downtown campus currently.
Thank you, everyone. So I would like to bring to everyone's attention that we do currently have 2 vacancies for the Student Senate. The East and the Northwest campuses do not have representation currently. The East Campus has been vacant since January, and we've all been doing our best to support that vacancy. So we are not feeling the impact of being short a senator at that campus. There was an election earlier this semester in an attempt to fill the position, but unfortunately we did not receive any applications. Leilani Williams has been doing a wonderful job supporting that campus in the absence of a official representation. The Northwest campus position is also vacant and has been since last month. I will be giving the campus update for the Northwest campus today, and similar to the East campus, we've all just been doing our best to support that vacancy, so it's not been filled.
So thank you so much for the update, Clinton. This now leads us to the next section, which is the audience Q&A with our in-person attendees. We have a microphone over there where you can pose your questions or make any comments. In order to ensure we are able to get to each person who wants to make a comment or pose a question, we'll be timing this section. Our parliamentarian, Clinton, will be timing this section. We'll assist with timing their remaining questions or comments or for our responses. Each person will have 2 minutes to pose their question or make a comment. We will spend a maximum of 5 minutes answering each question.
So if we don't have anybody who's ready to ask a question right now, then we can go ahead, and this is where we'll go to the pre-submitted questions. So we did have a Pima Engage form that were submitted. So Chancellor Lambert is going to be starting off here. So are you ready for it?
I'm
All
ready.
right. So
Of course, of course.
All right. So the first topic is on the subject of school safety, which is obviously very important right now. So there are actually several questions here, so we'll get through these. The first question is, I have concerns regarding student safety in light of recent attacks on schools such as school shootings or bomb threats from outside sources. What is the Senate's plan of action in regards to safety?
So thank you for the question. Safety, your health and wellness is of the utmost importance to the college, to me personally, our governing board, our administration, and our faculty and staff and all of our employees. I want you to first understand and know that we are committed to that. So with that said, we have taken a variety of steps to create a safe environment here at the college as possible. So we're joined today by our Chief of Police, Michelle Neuenhuis, and I might tap Michelle to answer a few of these pieces, but let me start out by saying that we recognize at Pima Community College that we have to do the best job we can to make sure that we create a greater presence on each of our campuses in terms of our police department. And so what we have done as a result of that is really move to a community policing model where our officers are on the campuses more so that you can start to build a personalized relationship with them. So you don't just see them as the folks in blue or see them as cops. They are first and foremost human beings, and they're there to protect each and every one of us. And we want to bring that more personalized perspective for each and every one of you. So keep that in mind. The other things we have done is we have been working to make sure our buildings are more secure. We've moved from the old traditional lock and key method to more electronic methods, and that's why you're seeing more and more of us wearing these badges. This is also part of our safety measures. So if you see someone and they're not wearing one of this, I'm not saying they're not a Pima employee, but if they're a Pima employee, they should be wearing one of these badges so you can quickly identify somebody who should be able to help you if you find yourself in a difficult spot. So keep that in mind. The other thing is we're investing a lot into professional development and training, and we're doing that throughout our campuses. Hopefully you get to participate in some of that. We do live shooter drills and a number of other pieces as well. And I always say to folks, if you're not sure about something, it's better that you report it than not. And then in all my years of experience, when someone comes to you and starts to say that they're planning to harm themselves or they're planning to harm someone else, take that seriously and report it, because you really don't know what's really going through a person's head and where they are mentally or physically at that time. But you do know what they've shared with you. Report it, please, because the more that we know earlier in time, the more we can be responsive in the instances of a shooter scenario, as an example. Also, anytime you hear that alarm bell go off, please take the proper steps to exit the facilities and the buildings based at the direction of our employees. I think that's another piece. But also, sometimes the threats are not ones you can see. I think we've all learned that most recently through the pandemic. And so I want you to know that when that very first case that really hit the consciousness level in Seattle, a small team of us, we were in Seattle for a conference. As soon as I learned about that situation, I called the provost and I basically said to her, we need to start to prepare for the day that we're going to have to move away from a physical presence to an all virtual presence. I called our chief of staff to start to mobilize our plan. And then I called the board chair and said, we may have to close down our physical campuses. And guess what we did? Pima was one of the first colleges in the country who took that bold step because we were proactive, we were thinking ahead, and some people at that time thought we were overreacting. But I think none of you now would look back in hindsight and say we were overreacting, right? We were very proactive. Again, I'd rather be on the safe side, be cautious than not. So those are some of the things that we're doing. And certainly if you have specific questions of things we're doing, we have our chief here who's be glad to answer those specific questions.
Thank you. So some of the questions were answered in that answer.
Okay.
So, and in the essence of time here, I think I'm going to go ahead and move to the second topic, which is PCC's mission and vision. So how does Pima Community College see itself changing in the future?
So I think a great question, by the way.
Yeah.
I think to think about the future, you have to go back to understand what's happening now, and then to start to anticipate what's going to happen in the future. So what do I mean by going back? So if we go back to, I think it was 1889, the first ever urban planning conference was held in New York City. So go back to just before the turn of the 20th century. And the big focus of conversation back then was, of all things, horse manure. Now that sounds funny, right? Horse manure. But back then that was a big deal. But what was also happening at that same time? There was this thing called the internal combustible engine was starting to make its way through and start to evolve. And you're all familiar with the internal combustible engine, right? That's what's powering our automobiles today, right? So now fast forward to today. What are we talking about? We're talking about making another shift away from the ICE to EV and other alternative fuel vehicles. I use the car as a symbol or a metaphor to understand the transformation that is underway in our society. We've done this once before when we moved from the agrarian curve onto the industrial era curve. Now what you are about to experience is a major shift from the industrial era curve onto the digital era curve. So we're all living in what we like to refer to at Pima as the liminal space. The liminal space is that transition point. And the question that each of us has to ask ourselves is, are you willing to make that right turn to get onto that digital curve? Are you willing to not make change and stay and live on that industrial era curve? I think you know the answer, right? We all have to make this transition and shift to the digital era curve. So with all of that said, I always ask my team to think about three things. Where's the puck going? That's that Wayne Gretzky quote about, if you understand hockey, you know, you're always trying to see where that puck's going to hit and try to anticipate that and meet it at that point of the intersection. So that's really thinking about where are the trends going, what are the signals being sent to us to help you start to anticipate that future, if you will. That's why I asked that question. Then the other questions I like to ask is, what problem are you trying to solve? I mean, there's lots of problems out there, but which ones are you trying to solve, and how do you know that's the right problem that needs to be solved? Problems are not a bad thing. I always like to think of a problem as an opportunity. It's really how you respond to it that will define its characteristics. So don't see it as a negative. I think see it as a positive, as an opportunity, and work with it. And then the last question I always like to ask is, what story is or are the data and the evidence telling us? And then when you wrap all of that together, you start to get a better sense of where things are moving. Nobody can predict the future. However, I believe that we can help be part of shaping what that future is going to look like. So keep that in mind as you go forward, is what is that future going to look like? And I want to be part of shaping it. I want to be able to come up with the blueprints for it, because nobody knew what that blueprint was going to look like when they moved from horse and buggy to the automobile. But they certainly knew that change was at hand, and it was going to really revolutionize every single part of our economy at that time. And it certainly did. And by the way, the higher education system of today is very much rooted in that 20th century way of thinking. Everything is about time, about measuring time. And our whole system is built around, you come to class at a certain time, you end at a certain time, you sit in class for 3 hours a week for 15 weeks, and you get 3 credits, right? Does that really tell you what you've actually learned? Does that really tell you if you can actually take what you learn and actually do something with it? No. And I think the 21st century is now making it very clear that that approach is no longer going to be adequate for the task at hand. It's all about the skills you actually walk away with and how you're able to use them to solve problems, to seize opportunities in order to continue to make this a better world for each and every one of us. So I think that's a big part of the future, right? And so let's talk about reinventing higher education. Let's talk about reinventing education. And we need all of you to be part of reshaping it, because we want to make sure everybody succeeds, not just some people succeed. The 20th century was defined by who we excluded, not who we included. The 21st century has to be about who we include. And I think the tools are there now to be able to do that. And so equity is going to be a key part of the equation, as well as we have to be better stewards of our environment. And that goes back to the whole ICE issue that I just made a reference to as well. So those are some of the things I would say about the future. Obviously, I could go on and on about this, but there's not enough time to do that. But I think you get the idea.
Perfect. So yeah, that's all the questions that we had for you. Thank you so much
You
for.
bet. Well, thank you all for putting this together. Appreciate it.
So thank you, Chancellor Lambert, one more time for your time. Now I will ask the audience one more time if there's anybody who would like to come up to the microphone and pose any questions or comments for us. No? Okay. So now we'll take the remaining time to answer the rest of our pre-submitted questions.
So as I mentioned earlier, this semester, we created a form on Pima Engage for students to submit topics, questions or comments, or just feedback in general about their experience at the college. The two questions that Chancellor Lambert just answered were from that form. And as I mentioned earlier today, our goal with the event is to maintain an open line of communication between students and leadership. We have been very fortunate to have leadership from all across the college be here this afternoon to ensure that we have the best person to address the student comments and questions. So I'll be reading the questions and we'll have various people answering them. So the first up is going to be on the topic of rules of reporting. And we're going to, let's see. Just have to check something here, one moment. Yeah, so this one's going to be answered by Dr. Duran Serta. And so if you'd like to go ahead and come on, thank you.
Thank you, Clinton.
Thank you.
And thank you, all of you in Student Senate for hosting this for all of us here. And I know there are students joining us virtually. Thank you for also joining us. I commend you for organizing this and being the voice of students and representing them and taking the questions so we can fully answer them. And if we don't have time to answer all of your questions and more come up, please be sure to send them to your Senate leadership and we'll be happy to continue that conversation. So I'm Dolores Duran Cerda, Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs at the college. And I was a former faculty member. So the question I'm going to answer has to do with faculty members. And so I wore that hat at one time and I always keep it on as we as a college make decisions on various aspects. But so the question is, rules of reporting, question 1, how to report a grievance with a professor. So of course, our main goal is that students have a successful learning experience in whatever modality it is. If it's in person, if it's virtual, if it's online, we want to make sure that they're optimizing their abilities and having that working relationship with the faculty member and their fellow students. So, but if there is a challenge or an issue that comes up, there are 2 ways. So I would recommend to start informally. If the student feels comfortable talking to the instructor first about the concern, whatever the issue is, going to their office hours or talking to them prior to class or after class privately. And maybe there's a misunderstanding, but I would attempt that, or through an email, I would attempt that first informally if they feel comfortable. If the student doesn't feel comfortable, then a formal complaint process can take place. And the student can reach out to the campus liaison for complaints. Each campus has one. So by going to that liaison, they can establish that connection and the person can, the liaison can provide advice and resources and start that formal process. That formal process could consist of reaching out to the supervisor of the faculty member. That could be the department head and or the dean. So that would be part of the process. And another way is to go through the Office of Dispute Resolution. ODR, as we call it. And so all of these resources are online on the website if you'd like to review those. But those are the steps, the formal steps for a grievance. But we hope that you feel comfortable enough to reach out to the instructor. And like I said, maybe there's a miscommunication or misunderstanding to solve the problems at that level first. And if not, then there is a formal process. I hope that answered the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so the next question is on the topic of student needs and concerns, and this one will be answered by Leilani and Daniel. So
Yeah, can you read the full question?
So the question is, how are student needs, concerns, or challenges being brought to your attention?
All right, so we do this in a variety of ways. The first and most obvious one is this town hall, where students can submit questions online, as many have, or come in person and ask us questions and have those answered. They can also make comments on the form for this event if they didn't have a question and they just wanted to express a grievance. In addition, many of us student senators hold office hours throughout the semester, during which students from our respective campuses can come up to us during the office hours and say, I think this needs to be changed, I have this problem, and so forth. And so now I pass it on to Leilani.
Thank you, Daniel, so much. So adding on to what Daniel said, we have an anonymous form on Pima Engage where students are able to go and fill out any concerns or questions that they want that they don't want to come up and ask us. And then we will address the issue. They can leave their email there for us to let them know what we can and will do. And yeah, that's it.
And so just to plug Pima Engage again, that's really the best way to know, like, if you want to know where we're having our office hours or where the student senators are going to be at any point in time, Pima Engage is going to have all of that information. So all of the various ways that we've just described in providing feedback, Pima Engage, the student senate page on Pima Engage is going to be the best way to find out where to go or to submit the questions online. So the next question is about student recruitment. The question is long, but we received an email. So I'm going to go ahead and Dr. Droncerta, if you want to go ahead and come. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we have an error on the form here. So yeah, if you want to come up, I'll read you the question. And we are a little bit ahead here, so we have some flexibility in time in terms of the answers. Officially, we would like the answer to be kept within 3 minutes, but if you could keep it between 3 and 5, we're doing okay on time right now. Not including me reading the question to you, because that's going to take a minute at least. All right, so the question came in saying, I have been a Pima Community College student since fall of 2021. I am a senior, age 67, retired, and single who attends one Pima class each semester to keep my mind busy and not to earn a college degree or certificate. I often find I am the oldest student in each class or the entire campus. I was the publicist marketing coordinator for the University of the Pacific in Stockton, California. Among my duties was to assist the California University's admissions department recruit new students. Last November, I emailed Pima Community College's marketing department a basic plan to recruit more area seniors. To date, I have not learned if my suggestions were implemented. My assumption is the college administration does not value seniors to enrich its student population. My Pima College instructors all agree seniors like myself greatly add to the classroom discussions. So.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Hi, I'm Suzanne Destern, and I'm the Vice President of Student Affairs. And I have been asked to respond to this question by our Vice Chancellor for Marketing and External Relations, Phil Burdick, who is not able to join us today. So there are 4 points that I want to provide to the question. First and foremost, I do want to let all of our students know that administration as a whole, we have an open door policy. And so our goal is to really make sure the student concerns are heard and listened to. And if it isn't an area that we can address, we do want to usher that concern through the processes to make sure it's addressed. So in this case, Dr. Brian Stewart, who is our DEI officer, as well as the campus vice president for Northwest Campus, actually met with this individual and part of ushering that concern forward. This individual has been communicated with back and forth extensively with our marketing department. We do have our director of marketing and an open invitation from our vice chancellor to continue the conversation. But I just wanted to clarify that there has been some communication with this individual, and we definitely value those opinions and that subject matter expertise. So with the information provided to me, I wanted to share with you all from marketing. There are a couple of things that the college has done to make sure that we are being inclusive to our senior population. So one of the things to help everyone kind of understand, the mission of the community college really is to be that open access institution. We do try to be all things to all people, and that can certainly be a challenge because of the diverse communities that we serve. But we do have a lifelong learning goal as well. And just like this student is sharing with us, he's a retired professional. He's not interested necessarily in a degree or credential or a non-traditional type of credential. He's really just interested in keeping up his skill set, taking different courses. So demographically, the college has a smaller enrollment for those that are older adults. So the appropriation of funding in terms of marketing isn't geared as much towards that population, but we do have the continuing education website, which is CE, continuing education, ce.pima.edu, where there's a lot of information about programming available to older community members, learners to take advantage of. And then additionally, we have a 50% tuition discount for seniors age 55 or older. And the last thing we wanted to share about is our community relations and outreach team has been doing increased events to really try to draw in those lifelong learners. So some of the things that are shared with me that has gone on, just in the month of April, the outreach and recruitment team has been at the Festival of Books, tabling at the U of A campus, again, to the whole community. They have participated in the Marana State of the Town event, the College and Career Fair at Desert Ridge High School, which does include parents and grandparents and families. Also Douglas High School, same thing. Their spring education event, which is a community event in that population of Southern Arizona. The Metropolitan Education Commission quarterly meeting, which again includes reaching out to demographics across the whole city, the Oro Valley Chamber, and family STEAM nights that have gone on around Tucson. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the next question is also a long one. This one's going to be answered by our own Marcus Vaughn, or Marquise, excuse me. Sorry, Marquise Vaughn. So the question is, I have an idea to have a comment or suggestion box for either student held problems or ideas for a student ran business. I've already talked to the woodworking department and have the okay to be able to submit a simple design for a student to build. Then me and other business students would be able to get our hands dirty learning the ins and outs of a small student-run business. This could both help us and the college, as it would be an opportunity to find unknown problems from students, either academic or other problems, and create a nexus for students with some difficulty and those who are hungry to fix it.
All right, well, I have had this question asked to me already, and I have sat down with my student life coordinator and bring it to her attention as well. And in that meeting, Jennifer Wilborn was a part of it. And we just have to continue to collab and see if we can come to a conclusion on how to form this idea. Because, yeah, so that is my answer for that.
Thank you, Marquise. So the next question is for Dr. Stewart, if Dr. Stewart could come up. Thank you. So the question is, what are the plans for our Pride community? Is the Pride Alliance on anyone's radar? How are you going to provide for these students?
Thank you, Clinton, and thank you all for having us here. You're going to hear that a lot, I think, from all of us coming up and speaking. And I love this question. As some people may not know, especially the students out there, I'm a member of the LGBTQIA community, and we do actually have a pretty extensive program that we've been working on in that area, and it comes in a couple of different areas. So I am the acting person over all of the DEI initiatives in the institution. And so I'm going to talk a little broadly and then narrow it down specific to that. And so one of the things that we've been doing over the last couple of years, we had a director who was working on developing our strategic plan. And one of the things that comes out of that is this idea of having affinity or identity groups. And that's really hard to implement at institutions like ours because we have a very transient population and we're not a university that has all those resources that they throw at them for those things. So we've been re-envisioning how do you create those kind of identities and those affinity areas. And what we're working on is what we've been doing is developing advisory teams made up of students and staff from different groups or really excited about different groups. And they provide advice to this bigger office of DEI. They advise in a couple of areas. So one of the big ones that nobody wants to touch, it's my area, which is dealing with policy. So one of the things in the LGBTQIA areas, for example, is us trying to align our IT system so that we are pulling from preferred name for when we can pull from preferred name instead of pulling from legal name. That's a huge system. We're a large institution. So they're working on that right now. That was one of the things that came out through that group. And so I deal with all of those sort of institutional pieces. And then we have other areas like our teaching and learning center, our student life areas that actually work on what we refer to as usually as programming. So those are things like teaching, helping us understand different areas, putting on events. We have big Pride events that we put on in those areas. And so they do that. And this group, this advisory body, works with those areas to know what's happening and changing and sort of what people need. And so they provide advice and support to those areas and also manpower. Manpower is an issue. And then there's this middle piece, and this is probably the area that I think the Pride Alliance is talking about, and I think other areas talk about, and that is connection, right? That's sort of the missing piece. I mean, we all do that. It is present, it's around, but it has to be intentional. And that is part of this idea when we're working around DEI is it's not just about diversity. It's not just about being inclusive. And it's not just about producing equity. It is really about creating senses of belonging with purpose and intentionality. And to do that requires us to actually have connection. And so this advisory body will be working with the Pride Alliance in order to have that through line connection in there. So they feel part of all that work that we do. They have that connection to those things. They won't be just doing it in that area. We'll be doing it in all the areas of DEI, but that's one of the ways we want to through line that connection there. And then that informs our plan and all those other things. And then we can get resources. We have all that stuff together, then I can go out for grants and those kind of things, get resources to help it even better. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So the next question is going to be for Michael Amick, if you could come up. All right. So the question is about the academic experience. I've noticed that instructor feedback and interaction can vary significantly from class to class in the online setting. It comes across that there is not a standard for how instructors interact with their online students. What are Pima's plans to ensure a more consistent experience for online students with their instructors?
Thank you very much, Clinton, and thank you again for this opportunity to respond to these questions and concerns. First of all, I want to apologize to any student that has not experienced a responsive and consistent experience in their online course. It's something that I, the Dean of Distance Education, and the faculty leadership take very seriously. And there is set criteria and expectations for this exact item. And I wanted to share a little bit about what those are and some things going forward to continue to work on improving this. So we do have criteria and expectations for faculty members that teach online. They are extensive, and under the heading that is number 2, expectations for engagement and responsiveness, there are 12. And I just want to share briefly portions of 4 of those. One is to maintain consistent course presence by logging in regularly every 24 to 48 hours during business days. A second one is to model instructional interventions through the context of the student's work in an encouraging and supporting manner. Third one I would share with you is to use and continuously update the gradebook in D2L to allow students to view their grades at all times. And the fourth one I would share, and this really speaks to what this question is about, establish and maintain frequent communication with students throughout the duration of the course by providing a personalized welcome, posting course announcements, and providing appropriate, constructive, and timely feedback and discussions on assignments. Meet with the students synchronously if the students reasonably requested or would benefit from a one-to-one meeting. So just sharing with you that we do have those expectations, and the faculty online leadership work to help provide that and ensure that. And finally, as part of these expectations, if they are not met, if they are not followed, or if the faculty member does not demonstrate responsiveness to request for improvement, then the Pima Online department head, in consultation with the Dean of Distance Education, may choose to omit scheduling the faculty member for particular online courses. And I can share with you that that has happened in the past because of the seriousness of that need. The other thing I would like to talk about is just a few weeks ago, I was able to attend the Higher Learning Commission conference and receive direct information about how Pima Community College will be evaluated with its online learning, and the evidence that we must demonstrate that we are fulfilling this exact question. And the way that the Higher Learning Commission is doing this with online learning is that we must demonstrate evidence that faculty are being providing regular substantive interaction in their online courses. And I just was speaking with the provost about this. I think we're well positioned to do this, and we'll be moving that forward as well. Another item I want to share, the most recent addition to our Pima online structure and team, is a director of e-learning quality and development. So one thing to realize is that we now have over 800 sections this semester that are taking place online that we want this to take place consistently with. The challenge for our Pima Online department heads right now is with that volume, they feel like they're being more responsive and reactionary, and we are working to be more proactive by using data methods and dashboards that we can share with those Pima Online department heads that, for example, indicates faculty person has not logged into D2L. Faculty person has not issued a grade in the grade book. And we can reach out and be more proactive and helpful with those student items. And finally, I just want to conclude by thanking Clinton for being such a professional and positive advocate for online learners. Jackie Allen and I, the Director of Online Student Success, have had many excellent meetings with Clinton. And one of the things that he has brought forward is trying to make these expectations more known and more visible and more prevalent. And so that is one thing that we are taking forward to work on. We're actually exploring the ability to put these on our public facing website so that students will have this available to them and know this before they even register for a class. So thank you again for the opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Michael. All right, so that moves us on to the next topic here. So this one is for Dr. Brian Stewart and Edgar Soto, if you guys want to come up. So this one, just forgive me because I'm reading it verbatim here. So it's food in cafeteria.
Yes. So I'm gonna go all over the place with this one a little bit for you, with that one. So I helped develop some of the stuff related to our marketplace, which is not necessarily food. So you guys understand that's the bookstore system. And what they call the food deliveries, like convenience store type work, they call it a marketplace. So that's one piece of the food delivery that we talk about. So those are in places on 4 of our locations. It is not at the Northwest campus, and that has to do with enrollment trends. Northwest campus students, for those people who are unaware, typically take half of their classes online compared to every other campus. So they're not on campus as much. And these organizations are businesses, so they have to generate revenue in those areas. This is a national trend. So I want to talk a little bit about national trending here. I was just with a bunch of other colleagues of mine around the country. Every one of them that do not have residents on campus have gotten rid of their cafeteria systems because the people won't do it. They won't come in and run them for them. So we're all being innovative. We're going to go to what Lee said earlier about that liminal space that we're living in. This is part of it. Colleges are changing. How students access us are changing. In this room right now, we only have half a dozen students that are here right now. We have a whole lot online, I am sure. That's sort of the reality of how campuses are, right? Students come in, they leave. So it's changing what we're doing, and it's making us be more creative and think differently about how food is being delivered. So that marketplace is one thing we can do. It's not the most nourishing. The other area that we're working on is expanding pantry access. So we have a pantry system that's located on a few of our campuses. We're looking at ways how we can do that. I believe there's a bunch of rules around that, but we're working on that component as well. So pantry access, which goes beyond food while you're here, but it gives students food because they're so transitory. It gives them food when they leave. So that's sort of the second way we want to deal with it. And then the third way we're working at is trying to be super innovative by each campus, looking at them separately, and how can we engage our community around us in ways that will fit that particular market. So I'll talk about what we're doing in Northwest, and then I'm going to go to Edgar, who's going to talk a little about the culinary hospitality and sort of how they're envisioning what they're doing at Desert Vista and how it may impact us. So at Northwest, for example, since we have nothing, I've been reaching out to the businesses in the area and trying to see who we can get to partner with. And I have 2 that I'm working on right now. One of them is a local provider who will come out during lunchtime, and we're trying to streamline an ordering system, a delivery method, so that when students are there, they can get some food from that particular area in a safe, easy way. And then we're doing the same thing for breakfast with a different vendor who actually has a cart. So we'll come on campus and do the kind of thing. And if it's successful, great, when we'll expand it out to other areas. But that allows our local communities to be part of our campuses, to connect with those each ways, and for us to really tailor food around the experience around our campuses. So each of these pieces is doing that. So if you're interested in that and you have ideas and suggestions, I'm going to say that many times. 1, go to your senators. They're amazing. They really are. And they meet with us all the time. But if you can't connect with them, come to the vice president's offices. We love students. I go around and talk to people. So please come to us if we haven't come to you, and we would love to hear from you, and we'll work with you on ideas and brainstorm around those our campuses specifically. So, and I'll turn over to Edgar.
If there's one thing that I think we've figured out here is that administration, chancellor, provost is all accessible. I love hearing Clinton talking about having access to Michael Amick, our vice president, online. That's how we get stuff done. A lot of times, you know, it might be anecdotal for us, but we also look at data, so we are listening. So spread the word that all of us administrators are accessible. Now, specific to the question with Desert Vista campus being culinary and hospitality, We are going to be opening up a restaurant, and the opening is going to be the second 8 weeks of the fall, possibly sooner. We're working on that, and we do have a grill there. So what's unique about Desert Vista is we have the culinary there, so our students will have some on-job training with this restaurant, with the grill, and we'll have access to hopefully some really amazing food. When it was open, I think I gained about 10 pounds when I moved to Desert Vista campus, because we had a lot of good food that students were working on. I got to be honest, sometimes it wasn't so great, but that's what it's about, right? You're figuring it out. 90% of the time, it was excellent. So that's what's going on with Desert Vista, which is unique to us, and we're really excited about it coming online here pretty soon. Thank you. Oh, we do also have a food truck. The food truck, we're thinking about moving over to some of the athletic events, and so we've been working on our food truck also. So yeah, that's really, I don't know if you've seen it, but we got some really nice wrapping on it, and it's really cool. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are coming up close to the next section, but we do have time for another question or two here. So let's see, the next one is for Dr. Desjardins, if you could come up, please.
I'd actually like to ask David Donderwitz, our Executive Director of Financial Aid, to join me. He's going to help me on this one.
All right, sounds great. All right, so the question is, how are you going to help with student debt?
Yeah, great question. So the answer is education, financial literacy. That's what we're doing. That's what we need to do. We got to get ahead of it. We got to get proactive. We really don't want students to get into more debt. We know that more than, about 80%-ish of our students are working because they have to. It's not a choice, right? We understand the community we live in. We understand what's happening with inflation. Those are things that are not going away. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, on the education side, what we're doing through our first year experience around financial literacy. And then David is going to continue the conversation because he is a partner. Financial Aid is a partner in that programming. So I don't want to steal all his thunder. But a couple of points I'm going to make, about 4 points. Okay, first of all, we do have a couple of credit classes designed around financial literacy. One is in the business area, and it's on entrepreneurship. And that one is going to teach you all the way through about how to manage money and how, even if you don't ever want to own your own business, how to understand taxes, how to understand budgeting, etc. We have another class, that's a 3-credit class. We have another 1-credit class called STU 102, which is called financial literacy. And so that's another great class to take. So if you were looking for an actual course, a structured credit course, those are some options. Under the first year experience, we have a program that Renee Forsythe, our program coordinator, has developed called Adulting 101 and 102. So it's a series that really is about life skills. How do you come to college and be successful, navigate this environment? It really is like learning another language. So with financial literacy, there's 2 events that they hold every semester. Again, another plug for Pima Engage. You can literally just go to the web, type in Pima Engage. You don't have to be logged in as a student. You'll be able to see the portal, and you can put in FYE and you'll see all the events that Renee is doing in Pima Engage. And so the 2 events that we had this semester were Money Matters, Understanding Your Credit Scores, and Retirements and Investments. However, we have a YouTube channel. Again, you can go to YouTube, type in student engagement. You'll see all of the on-demand recorded sessions that Student Life and First Year Experience has done for the last several years. So you can actually do on-demand Money Matters financial literacy workshops that you might have missed either in the past or in the current semester if you're not able to join live. And then I wanted to let you know that Adult Basic Education for College and Career has another component of financial literacy that they're actually doing with the English language acquisition students. And by the way, our FYE program, we partner with Financial Aid and we partner with one of our local credit unions. ABEC, as we call them, also partners with a credit union, and they are looking at topics like what do financial institutions do, cybersecurity and identity theft, crediting and budgeting. I do want to do a shout out that in the past, the honors program has had student-led financial literacy programming with community partners. So you can always tap into honors and PTK. Often they're still doing things like that with community partners. The last resource is student employment. So student affairs hires students. We call them peer mentors. We hire them to work in student engagement and first year experience and in our face-to-face student services centers at the campuses. I believe David, my colleague, is also going to talk about federal work study and employment as well as part of his talk. So I'm going to turn it over to him.
All right. Thank you very much. David Donderwitz, the Executive Director of Financial Aid. So along the lines of what Dr. Desjardins was talking about, really is the first step is financial literacy. So educating the borrowers and our consumers on the cost of education here at the institution. So it is an institutional requirement by the federal government to have a program in place for financial literacy at the institution. So teaming up and building those connections and working with the students to help them understand exactly when and how to borrow. So the first step of eliminating debt is to know exactly how to borrow or when to borrow. Other things that we have in place at the institution to help with that, so we know when not to borrow, is our federal work study or college work programs that we offer. Also being available and looking through scholarship opportunities. So looking at alternatives to borrowing. We want to borrow as a last resort institution. And with that being said, I think our overall mission at the institution is to keep the costs low as well. So we have a very affordable cost to earn an associate's degree certificate here at this institution. That again, borrowing should be the last thing we do. We look for alternatives to meet that. Other opportunities that we have, and I'm going to do another plug for Pima Engage. So we just joined this week? I think Jennifer Wellborn helped us out. So we're going to have our events posted as well on Pima Engage for the students. So we do have several events as well, teaming up with Money Matters, but also FAFSA events and so forth. We also offer certain scholarships that help Earn to Learn to help finance your education is another great opportunity to look at for our students. And they also have webinars and presentations to view as well. So those are all on our current webpage that is Paying for College / I believe it is Financial Aid Events, or it will be on Pima Engage. And then lastly, I think going to the root of the question about student borrowing, I know we're all anticipating what the decision is going to be from the Supreme Court about loan forgiveness. Well, there's going to be an answer. We don't know what that answer is. Regardless of what that answer is, at some point in time, our borrowers are going to go back into repayment if they're not forgiven, or our new borrowers that are out there. So we work with a third-party servicer called Student Connections, and our group is constantly working with our current borrowers that have borrowed before, and we are reaching out via email, text, phone calls to our current borrowers to get them prepared when repayment begins again. And then lastly, I'll kind of end on that, is that currently at our institution, we have about 23,000 students who are registered for credits courses this academic year, and only 2,000 of those students did borrow. And that average is about 2,500. So most of our students, they do look for alternative resources to pay for education. And then one plug for me, FAFSA. Have everybody fill out a FAFSA. The more grants and opportunity that are out there and available, the more money we have to help students pay for their education. And that by having more Pell Grants at Pima Community College also opens up additional funding for federal work study and other programs that are out there for the federal government. So thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so that will conclude our Q&A. I do have some comments that I want to read. We'll call them compliments that were pre-submitted as well. So the first one is, I love the snacks at Student Life. So we really should, yeah. Our Student Life really does an amazing job taking care of us. They really do. And then the second comment was, I love it here. So round of applause for Pima. And then this one's for our wonderful faculty. It says, I love the staff. Everyone's so helpful. So round of applause for them. All right, so let me catch up here where we're at. And oh, yes, all right, so we're gonna be doing the updates. Yep, so Marquise, go ahead.
Thank you to all the students who submitted a question through our form on Pima Engage. The next section of the program will be our campus updates. During this time, we will each have 5 minutes to share an update on what has been occurring this semester at our respective campuses, as well as an update on what we have been doing as a campus senator during our term. In preparation for this town hall, we each had a sit-down meeting with our vice president to discuss the campus and any projects or initiatives that are occurring at our campuses. TT Martinez, ABEC Senator, will start us off for this section.
Thank you. Upon speaking to my campus VP, Lori Kierstead Joseph, I found out that at this time, currently no construction is taking place. Although we hope to make some center improvements in the near future, those improvements will need to wait until the leases on the 2 city-owned facilities have been renewed. There should be more info on that sometime this summer. We are just finishing up the installation of one high-tech, high-flex classroom at each learning center, just like we have at each of the campuses, so woohoo. We continue to offer GED, HSC preparation at all 3 learning centers and online or hybrid of the 2. We will continue to offer English for speakers of other languages for refugees and immigrants. We are now recruiting for IT-IBEST, which is Integrated Basic Education Skills and Training, and MA-IBEST, which both start this fall. We are also running citizenship preparation classes in combination with English learners for the learners seeking to prepare for the citizenship test. HSC graduation is scheduled for this June 1st. We invite all GED HSC graduates to come and celebrate their achievements. It will be in person at the Leo Rich Theater at TCC starting at 6:30 p.m. There will be an El Pueblo Fiesta open house at the El Pueblo Liberty Adult Learning Center on Saturday, this April 29th. All are welcome to come. We have just begun planning for downtown campus to host Tucson's World Refugee Day event in June. The WRD Planning Committee asked if PCC could host it at the downtown campus, and we are thrilled to say yes. More info on that will be coming soon. As for Student Senate representation, I have participated in advocacy events in Flagstaff where we have been asked to collaborate between our student leaders at with 3 other colleges on new ideas on how we can be better leaders. That's pretty much it. Yeah. I was also invited to the state Senate and was able to speak with Senator Watsack and share my story. By speaking on behalf of adult learners and sharing the importance of GED and adult education related courses, I have been able to open new doors, not only for myself, but for my fellow students. I will continue to advocate and be an ally for adult learners and hope that my contributions have helped contribute to a better, brighter future for all. This concludes my report for adult basic education, college and career. And I will pass it back now to Marquise.
We'll just go.
Thank you, everyone. Alrighty, I would first like to update you on our construction at Desert Vista. Edgar spoke upon it a little bit earlier, but we are progressing greatly in our restaurant construction, and we're hoping to be open in the fall. Additionally, we are looking to expand our childcare for 1 to 2-year-olds in September of 2023. During my check-in meeting with my amazing VP, Edgar, I asked him the question, are there any new safety procedures or protocols that we're implementing or updating? Edgar informed me that the new safety procedures or protocols that we are implementing are going to be updated soon. But he also informed me that each campus went through a walkthrough check-in in the past couple of weeks in regards to our safety procedures. The biggest takeaway from these check-ins was GHF, meaning get out, hide, and fight. In terms of enrollment, Desert Vista is looking to increase our student population in the upcoming fall. However, in terms of course models, Desert Vista holds the highest percentage of student enrollment in self-paced independent courses with a whopping 44.78%. I would like to take this moment to highlight some events that we have had in the past and upcoming events for the near future. I'm happy to report that our Student Life Open House has had a record-breaking attendance of 71 participants. On April 18th, Desert Vista will be hosting our Earth Day event in our garden, which, may I add, is very beautiful. We're going to have live poetry readings from 2 nationally recognized poets and workshops led by our professors. And our Student Life will be hosting lunch. Lastly, I am honored to announce that this summer, Desert Vista will be coordinating the Pima Summer Bridge Program. Participants accepted in this program are from the graduating class of 2023 from the Sunnyside School District and Saudita School District. The Summer Bridge Program will run during Session A, where students have the opportunity to earn up to 6 college credits and be involved in online emerging leaders, and then Pima Leadership through the Pima Leadership Institute, as well as Pima Faces and Spaces, a Pima department and program showcase, and other co-curricular activities through Student Life. This concludes my report for Desert Vista.
All right, thank you, Leilani. I would like to give a downtown campus update after meeting with my vice president. We have some construction going on, advanced manufacturing building. It's actually pretty nice. I had the privilege of having a meeting there before this, so it's very nice. It just passed inspection and we have received the keys for it. And the building is planning to be open by this upcoming summer. They have started to add brand new furniture to the offices, classrooms, and throughout the building. And some of the programs that are going to be offered are welding, automotive, industrial technology, energy technology, machine technology, computer-aided design. And some of the special programs being offered are business incubator, which focuses on manufacturing. There will be a fit lab, meaning flex industry training. And the changes that have been made to the campus are, we have a new vice president, Nina. An upcoming event that I would like to bring some light to is an ethnic, gender, transborder studies and psychology summit on April 28th from 8 to 5. It's an all-day event. You're able to come and go. And there's also a keynote speaker, Fee Montez, and that will conclude my campus update.
Alrighty, so I will be giving the East Campus update. So I have volunteered to provide the East Campus update, and I would first like to update everybody that Edgar Soto has become the VP for East Campus as well as the VP for Desert Vista. So congrats to him. I would like to say that East Campus Cybersecurity Program will be expanding this coming year with PSESI moving over to East Campus. Additionally, I'd like to highlight that East Campus is hosting Asian Pacific Islander Month. On Saturday, April 23rd, Student Life will be taking 15 students to the Japanese garden for a tea ceremony. Spots are filling very fast, so if you're interested in participating, please sign up and RSVP through Pima Engage. This concludes my report for East Campus.
All right, so I'll be doing the Northwest Campus first. So I was able to speak with Brian about the Northwest Campus update. And one of the things that he brought up is that there is a hangout space that will be open near the cafe. It's allowing for more noisier types of activities without disrupting some of the quieter needs of the campus. They could add recreational activities like a ping pong table in the future. It can be booked for events, which is really cool. I think that's a great addition to that space. And they will also be setting up a quieter space to allow for activities like meditation. Also up coming on the evening of April 28th. They're going to have a STEAM family night, which he informed me because I had no idea what STEAM was. And STEAM is STEM with an A for arts. So I thought that was pretty cool. The announcements for volunteers for that event are coming, and the campus clubs are involved in organizing the event. So definitely check that out. And then the last item, he did already update everybody very thoroughly on that, but I just wanted to express as a student, the idea of being able to get food from the restaurants locally is really exciting. And I think that being able for Pima to be able to contribute to the small and local businesses around their community is really a great idea. And I hope it works out, because it would be a great thing for Pima be able to stand behind as a way to show how they support the local communities in the area. So I really hope that works out. And then I'll go ahead and move to Daniel for the West Campus update, and then I'll take it back for online.
All right, so for the West Campus update, I have this sectioned off into a few different topics, the first being construction. The West Campus F building has almost completed construction. It will hopefully be done by this summer and ready to hold classes by the fall. This will alleviate room space pressure from across campus. Major renovations will also begin soon on the J and H buildings. Before that happens, however, administrators are meeting and planning with access and disability resources to ensure that all students can continue to access the L and K buildings. The next subject is the Student Life Center position. Currently, it is back there opposite this stage in the cafeteria. But the administrators have gotten the quote to remodel the space in the cafeteria or behind the cafeteria. But it is almost $1 million, so they might seek a federal grant. In the meantime, to alleviate space, they might tear down the wall between the Student Life Center and the classroom next to it, AG19. I don't have my glasses on. Make it into just one large space. The only delay on that would be making sure there's enough classroom space available to alleviate the loss of that classroom. The next subject is the Center for the Fine Arts expansion. The West Campus is seeking to expand the Center for the Fine Arts, in case you didn't know. The dean has been meeting with people inside and outside of the college and meeting with business and industry folks to get feedback, and then present that to students for program development to create a plan for the Center of Excellence. And the idea there is we want to make sure that our art students get better jobs sooner after graduating. As for some of the things that I've been up to, I've been making sure to meet regularly with my VP to express concerns and topics that need to be addressed by the administrators. I've also done sort of cross-campus support for our Student Senate project, like having a signing event at the Northwest campus where students were able to sign for the blanket. And as well as recruitment for the next cohort. And with that, that concludes my report.
All right, and last but definitely not least, for the online campus, the Pima online campus has got new web pages in the works to outline the online learning process. And the online learning resources available to students. So the web pages contain many links to important documents and resources for online learners. Provides a hub for different ways to get assistance if needed. I think that that's really a critical thing for online students, is an easy way for them to get online resources because they don't have a student life center that they can stop by at. So I think it's great that they're making that a priority. And the web pages also set expectations for both the students and what the students can expect from their instructors. Also update on Pima Flex Track, which if you aren't familiar, the Pima Flex Track is an exclusively online program aimed at really streamlining the process of getting a 2-year degree. Right now, it is for a 2-year liberal arts degree. But I believe it was 8-week classes. And so it can, again, streamline that process and make it more, be able to get the degree more quickly. And they are looking to expand into business, health information technology, and teacher education as well. And to also give a shout out to one of our own, the Instructional Technology Council awarded one of our previous senators, Namrata Patel, with the Outstanding E-Learning Student Award. She was a previous student senator and the treasurer for the online campus, or from the online campus. She graduated with a 4.0 and has a deep commitment to improving the online and learning experience. And then for what I've been up to, as Michael mentioned, I've been meeting with both Michael and Jackie regularly. One of the main things that I'm excited about is we've been talking about the online campus and the feel of the online campus. So we all know that we're at the West Campus right now. We all know that the Student Life Center is right there. We all know that where the library is, the bookstore, and all of that, right? So when you're a West Campus student, you very much can identify with the West Campus. I notice that as an online student, I don't really feel that same connection to the campus. So we've been just discussing what that would even look like, because it is kind of an abstract idea right now of how that would be implemented, because there's really not an infrastructure or an easy infrastructure for that. So at least the kindlings of the conversation are happening. So, again, any feedback or ideas about that is very welcome, because it is a very new thought, but I'm excited to see some light bulbs going off around the idea. I think it's really cool. And I think that Pima is in a position to really kind of set a standard for that, since online learning is taking a new priority in the culture in general. Also I've been talking with Jackie about D2L and the user design, or the user friendly, and trying to make sure that the things in D2L are relevant and are easy to find and are in the right places for students to look for them, because students look for certain things in certain places, and if they don't find it the first place they look, then they give up and just assume that it's not there. So we're trying to make sure that, especially because there's such a wide demographic of people that use the D2L, trying to make sure that it's consistent experience, that there isn't wide variations from one class to another, or from one purpose to another, because even the in-person classrooms still use D2L. So, and some students are in person as well as online. So it's important that those experiences be similar or identical, really. And so that way there's no learning curve between courses, because that can get really frustrating for students. And then Michael did touch on this as well, but we're also trying to make sure that and not just for the online campus, but for students in general, that the expectations for everyone at Pima are easy for everyone to find, right? So it's easy generally for the student to find a student code of conduct, but it may not be so easy for a student who maybe has a question about something that their instructor did. And is this allowed? Is this something that I should bring to the attention? Or maybe I'm looking for more understanding as to why they did that. Then it's not easy for the student to find what those expectations are, whether that be an instructor, whether that be administration, whether that be a maintenance person, right? We just don't have an easy way to find that yet. So that's another thing that we're working on. And again, that's not just for online students, but for everyone at Pima, just to make sure that we're all starting on the same page and elevating any conversations to a better starting point. And that's all I have for online.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Clinton, for that update. I would also like to thank all of our campus vice presidents. for making time for us in order to prepare for this event and ensuring that student needs and concerns are a top priority. Before we go into our next section, I wanted to give time for one last update. Each student senate is responsible for completing a senate project. Leilani Williams, project lead, will share an update with us.
Thank you, Marquise, for that introduction. As it was previously mentioned, each student senate is responsible for completing a project. This project can range from a gift to campuses prepared by Senate to creating a project or ongoing event to address critical issues. This year's project, Student Senate, is partnering with Project Linus. We are creating a banner with students and faculty signatures displaying each individual's journey with Pima, showing our unity. We have gone to each campus and collected student signatures on the first part of the banner where we painted the Pima logo. And now we are collecting Pima faculty signatures on the second half where we have our sponsor Project Linus logo painted on it. That is all for now. Our project will be completed on May 17th.
Thank you for that update, Leilani. We are now at our last section of the program. I would like to invite the speakers up who will be presenting information on the baccalaureate program at PCC.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so we have a little bit of a technical difficulty today. Dr. Ian Rourke is actually joining us virtually. However, we don't have a way to project here. So he's projecting his PowerPoint and the presentation online to people who are attending via Zoom. I'm gonna broadcast that, try really hard. Let's see if it works out off my laptop into the mic so people can hear here. You won't be able to see, but you can hear what he's saying.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, do we have any feedback issues and am I coming through clearly? All right. Do you need me to speak louder? Okay, this is as loud as I'm going to be able to speak. Am I coming through clearly? I just need a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay, thank you. I see some of my colleagues there giving thumbs up. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and I know that the student senators will be able to see the PowerPoint, or at least the one that's in front of Marquise. This is being recorded. And so I believe that this will be then distributed. Am I correct? I would have rather joined you in person today. Thank you for your flexibility. I was informed I could join virtually. I am ill, but this event doesn't occur very often. And so I wanted to be able to give the update regardless. So thank you for your patience with this format and for your time. My name is Ian Rourke, and I serve as the Vice Chancellor of Workforce Development and Innovation. And I just first want to say I'm so proud to be a part of Pima Community College, and all of the updates we've heard today from our peers and all of the excellent questions from the students really show that this is an increasing culture of innovation. We are a leader in that space across the country. I also want to, if I may, just borrow 1 minute at a point of privilege regarding the downtown campus individual, I think Marquise is your name, and the question about student-run businesses. Down the road, downtown campus, you heard from your update, there is going to be a business incubator. It is the first manufacturing-specific incubator in the whole metro area of Tucson. In addition to the Innovation Center that will soon be at the downtown campus, the long-term plan is for us to have the ability to do just that. In partnership with the Small Business Development Center, the Innovation Center, and the Manufacturing Incubator, we will have a framework whereby we can help entrepreneurs, including student entrepreneurs, who want to pursue that down the road. So really look forward to engaging with individuals who are part of that initiative. Today, we'll be speaking about the Bachelor's Degree Initiative, and I can share this. So it says host has disabled screen sharing. So what I'm going to do is start talking about it until screen sharing is given. And if it's not, that's okay. I'll be going off of the PowerPoint just so we're staying on track and on time. I had the opportunity to present to Student Senate some weeks ago about Pima's exploration and interest in launching baccalaureate degrees at Pima Community College. The framing for this was Senate Bill 1453 that passed in the Arizona State Legislature in 2021. As of this time, Arizona joins about half of the states in the United States who have authorized the offering of baccalaureate degrees at community colleges, with the aim of having high quality baccalaureate options, but at reduced burden of cost for the learners that we serve. This will lead to increased upward mobility in metropolitan Tucson, Pima County, and Southern Arizona once this initiative has commenced. In the state of Arizona, and through Senate Bill 1453, okay, I've been given screen sharing rights, so I am now going to go to the PowerPoint presentation. Can you see this PowerPoint? Thumbs up. So as we pursue our baccalaureate degree regimen, it is about looking at things through a workforce development modality and in the context of equity, preparing our community for the jobs of the future, not those that just exist today, and in ensuring that this is aligned to the economic development priorities of our community and where what we call tier 1 jobs are going to be located, as those have the most opportunities for upward mobility and the most job creation impact. Under the auspices of our new models for new majority learners, the pursuit of baccalaureate degrees at Pima Community College will be through an innovative lens where we are looking at opportunities to integrate entrepreneurship, work-based learning, and competency-based modalities potentially through whichever program we offer. Equally, we want to ensure that whatever program of study is ultimately selected for the launch of baccalaureate degrees, that we are addressing both the issues of sustainability in our community as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion. But back to Senate Bill 1453. That bill articulated all of the rights, but also all of the limitations that are given to Arizona's 10 community college districts with respect to the development and launch of baccalaureate degree programs. Specifically, these programs have to be done in a workforce development context and through the data and input from business and industry, ultimately be shown to meet the needs of business and industry in the community that are currently not being met at the level that they need to be. So where there are not enough jobs being filled, those are the candidate areas for baccalaureate degrees. Second, there has to be student interest and demand for the potential baccalaureate degree offerings. And finally, because we have 3 state universities, we have to ensure under the law that our programs that we intend to offer are not unnecessarily duplicating similar programs that are offered through Arizona State University, Northern Arizona, Northern Arizona, and then finally, of course, our own University of Arizona. In addition to the law, and there are other parameters in the law, such as the maximization of cost. We will only be able to charge 150% of the tuition and fees that are charged at the associate and certificate degree level. Another piece in the law is that ultimately we will only be able to offer 10% of our programs will be able to be at the baccalaureate degree level. As our accreditor, the Higher Learning Commission also sets forward the parameters for the exploration, development, launch, and oversight of baccalaureate degrees at community colleges. It has been shared on a number of occasions, and a reminder to the participants of this group that on our initial launch of a baccalaureate degree regimen, Pima Community College will only be able to offer an initial 2. After we go through a process of revising our student mission and student body through the Higher Learning Commission, only then, and if approved by the Higher Learning Commission, would we be able to add the 3rd, the 4th, and so on, up to a maximum of 10% of our total program offerings at the institution. This is because the Higher Learning Commission wants to ensure that community colleges that are accredited by it are offering baccalaureate degrees that are of equal quality to their university partners. And I'm convinced with the innovation, the faculty, staff, and the students that we have at Pima Community College, that will absolutely be the case. In late spring of 2022, the college composed a baccalaureate degree committee, composed initially of faculty, deans, and some staff, such as from finance and curriculum quality improvement, in order to begin the exploration process of what it would take institutionally and from a capacity perspective to launch baccalaureate degrees at Pima. Equally, there has been a lot of interest among faculty, deans, administrators, students, and community members about what baccalaureate degrees individuals or groups think should be offered at Pima Community College, including for those first 2. So to help the decision-making process, we launched essentially an application process that is coming from faculty up through the system to help determine which slate of baccalaureate degree program candidates should be considered by the senior leadership at the organization and ultimately be given to our elected board for consideration and approval. It is a 2-phased process given the level of interest that had developed among faculty and deans for launching the programs. The first phase of the program has completed, and the second phase is now underway. These phased applications are essentially preparing those program areas for the process that they would have to go through in order to apply for a new program, and specifically a new baccalaureate level program at Pima Community College. During this timeframe, we also received additional clarification from the Higher Learning Commission about the prospective timeline for offering getting approval for baccalaureate degrees, which may be a little bit longer than is typically the case for associate degree or certificate. The applications include things such as labor market analysis, a collaborator and competitor analysis, and also an initial focus on closing barriers to learner success and advancing equity. The phase that is underway right now and being worked on among deans and faculty in their respective areas and divisions are all of the criteria laid out by the Higher Learning Commission and addressing those in guidance from that organization, addressing all of the parameters that are given in House Bill 1453, as well as demonstrating from a budgetary perspective the long-term sustainability of each one of these potential programs. And finally, qualitative data such as input from key business and industry partners in the community-based organizations, opportunities for work-based learning. And again, that point that no matter what area it's in, we want to see a distinctive approach to addressing somehow our sustainability and climate action plan, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion through the programs of students. We'll not go through all of the fine points on the timeline, but just wanted to go through at a high level that there are really 3 phases. The phase that we are in now is the 2023 requirements, all of the things that must be done in 2023 in order for us to have a prospective launch of the fall of 2025. So again, prospective launch, fall of 2025. All of these different things up into and including the governing board decision on the prospective programs needs to occur pretty much in the early fall semester. And then there's a long period of time, given the HLC processes that are required. That looks like not a lot of activity for those that can't see the slide. The 2024 calendar of events only includes 3 slides, but they are very important. That is a visit from the Higher Learning Commission specifically to review the prospective baccalaureate programs in July of 2024, a prospective submission to the Department of Education at the federal level in August of 2024, and an HLC decision hopefully by September of 2024. And then after those things, all of the college processes could then take place with respect to catalog, marketing campaigns, so on and so forth, so that registration could occur for a prospective fall of 2025 launch. Now, it's also important to note that these timelines are not finalized and that there could or may be other circumstances that require necessary adjustments to the prospective launch. So our overall timeline where we are now is that we have been gathering input from the community through our Futures Conference that the college puts on every year. We have visited multiple stakeholder groups within the organization, and we are now working on finalizing a survey that will go to business and industry throughout the Tucson metropolitan area and Southern Arizona. And also we'll start working on a student survey so that we can get greater student feedback and input into the sorts of programs that you, the students, the learners, would like to see the college at least look at and explore. After the selection in April, in late April or early May, of which potential slate of baccalaureate programs we seek to offer, then multiple stakeholder groups and departments across the college will be brought in to build out the necessary systems and processes to do so by the prospective launch. We're very excited about this potential opportunity for all of Arizona and specifically for Pima Community College. Student voice is going to be central to this process, and really are looking forward to not only the results of the surveys that we will soon develop and then put forward, but also any questions, comments, or ideas that you may have at this point in time. Thank you. And with that, I'll see if there's any questions, comments, concerns.
Have any questions at this time?
Thank you for that update. This sounds like a very exciting opportunity for PCC students. Thank you again to everyone that was able to join us virtually and in person here at the West Campus. We greatly appreciate the support we have received from faculty, staff, and administrators at PCC with regards to today's event. In addition to this, thank you to our fellow students who took the time to submit questions. Student Senate represents the interests of PCC students. Don't forget you have the opportunity to have your voice heard at the beginning of each regular meeting and can attend all Student Senate meetings. Our last meeting will be on Wednesday, May 10th at 7:30 p.m. All meetings are virtual. You can access our meeting schedule, upcoming events, upcoming agendas, and meeting minutes on our Pima Engage page. You may also contact us directly through our Pima Engage page or visit our local Student Life Center to obtain your student senator's contact information. On May 10th, the spring 2023 campaign season for the 23-24 Senate cohort will begin. Please look out for updates on Pima Engage to view candidate information. Voting will take place April 20th through the 25th on Pima Engage. With that last update, the Student Senate Spring 2023 Town Hall has now concluded. There are light refreshments for all to enjoy. This event has been recorded and will be accessible via our Pima page, Pima Engage page, and uploaded to Pima Student Engagement YouTube page. Thank you.